Welcome back to another normal baseball podcast. A lot went on. Jon Lester retired. A couple other things happened, and we're going to do the AL and NL Central MVP team for each team. All right, here we go. Welcome to a very normal baseball podcast. I'm Alex. That's Lewis.
Let's do it.
It is current. Oh, whoop! I forgot to update the date on the screen. So
It's so stuffed.
That's a little bit awkward. Let me fix
It's
that
fine.
right now. What's today? The 12th. It's the 13th.
Today's the 13th.
There we go. Everything's updated. We're good. It's all right. It's all good.
I never saw it say anything about the 13th.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's do it. I'm ready. So I think things are obvious. Where we should probably start. Of course, Jon Lester retired.
Three-time World Series champ.
Yeah, a couple days ago. Yesterday, actually, as when we're recording this. 3-time World Series champ, 5-time All-Star. Red Sox and the Cubs is where he most notably played. What do you think?
Good for him for having a great career. I think he just scraped the 250 win mark. So obviously a good all-around pitcher.
I don't
know
if he did.
Or he ended at 249. I think he was very close to that. He was just a good pitcher. Sad to see that he has to go, but I mean that's baseball.
He had 200.
It wasn't like
he had 200 wins on the dot.
Oh, 200 wins on the dot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so pretty good.
Still 200 wins is still good. I mean, I think most people who are not too familiar with Jon Lester on the Cubs will always point to his no-hitter on the Red Sox. That's a very notable moment of his career. And all in all, a great career. I'm happy for him. Wishing him all the best, as we say with everybody here.
I agree. Yeah, obviously he's had a great career. He's one of the best postseason pitchers of all time, or at least is said to be the best postseason pitchers of all time. In the postseason, 26 games, 2.5 ERA, 154 innings. So he won three World Series, two with the Red Sox, one with the Cubs. I mean, he didn't have a great year this year. He spent half with the Nats, half with the Cardinals. He had a 4.71 ERA and 141 innings pitched. But at the end of the day, that's just this year. It's just 1 year, so. Also, threw a no-hitter in 2008 for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I mean, that is definitely one of the more notable moments of the new age Red Sox, if you will, where they actually were able to get over the hump, win a World Series. I mean, Jon Lester was a big part of that. And I think, that no-hitter will forever be known in Fenway Park.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's nice. The one thing I wanted to see, obviously he had a great career. Obviously wish him the best. Do you think he's a legitimate candidate for Hall of Fame, or is he going to go down in the Hall of Very Good Players at the end of the day?
I think, as sad as it is to say, I think that he will be just the Hall of Very Good. I just don't think that his career was steady enough, and he didn't hit the peak of what other pitchers, especially at this time, will hit and have hit to go on and make the Hall of Fame. I think he'll make an appearance on the ballot, but I'd give it 1 or 2 years before he falls off, sadly.
Yeah, I kind of agree. He has some of the numbers, and he's definitely got potential. But
I think the thing that will keep him around is the 3 World Series, because that means a lot to the baseball voters.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's gonna get votes. I don't think he's gonna get no votes, but I don't think he's no chance he gets enough votes to get in. He's gonna get like 5% or whatever. He's gonna be like one of those smaller ones on the ballot that's just kind of
Just
there.
kind of lingers, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
like
it'll get down to his last year, and everyone will be like, "Wait a minute, why did we not vote him in?"
yeah. As sad as it is, I don't know if he um is Hall of Fame potential candidate.
Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell at the end of the day, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What
Um,
else is there? I mean, we could talk about Camden Yards before we get into our last little bit about the lockout.
sure, I'll go with Camden Yards.
Yeah,
Um,
so Camden is changing their dimensions of the field a little bit. They are pushing back the left field wall and also raising it by a few feet. Alex and I have both been to Fenway Park, to Camden Yards before. Do we think it's going to affect the pace of play and everything in the stadium? Because, I mean, the most notable thing about Camden Yards is all the home run robberies that happen there. I mean, when you think about it, Mike Trout, his notorious home run robbery in center field, or this season with Cedric Mullins, that wall was very easy to get over, and it really made for some highlight plays. Do we think it's going to change anything
um,
about the game at Camden?
I mean, obviously it's going to change the game. Camden, I think I read something that said Camden has given up the most, like allowed the most homers, like every year since it's opened or something like that. So obviously
Wow.
that's really what it comes down to is they want to get rid of that. There's theories that it's just because they're a bad team. I could see that they're sick of losing because they're usually on the wrong end of that the home
Home run
runs.
trot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean maybe not in past years, but very recently they have. I don't mind it. I mean, at the end
I
of the
should
day,
just
I do think it takes away a little bit of the game. I like I don't know. Explain. That's like the Yankees moving the short porch back. It just like
yeah, that's the
each
field.
ballpark.
Like
Yeah, each ballpark is different in its own way, and I feel like that's just something that Camden has that not many other places have.
I think
Um,
if they're gonna do it, they have to go big or go home. I think that they should make a carbon copy of Fenway Park's Green Monster and just
the orange monster,
slap it right there. Yeah,
the orange monster out in Camden Yards.
or take DC's right field wall and just slam it over there. No, that's not DC. That's Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
slap it right there. Like I feel like I'm upset about it, not because they're changing the field, but because it's such a minor change. Like they're not raising the wall 50 feet and not moving it back 150 feet. You know, like they're pushing it ever so slightly back and up,
yeah, I'm
which kind
interested.
of annoys me.
Yeah, like I'm interested to like see what it looks like. Also,
Yeah,
like
I
what's it
mean,
gonna look
without a
like when
doubt,
they're
it'll
done?
look interesting. I
Yeah,
can't
it's gonna look
imagine.
interesting. It's just a matter of like I don't know. Like, is it gonna be weird to look at?
I bet you it'll be talk of the town whenever any team goes there, and then after you see it once, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's Camden Yards." You know, you won't really be phased by it after you
Yeah,
see it once or twice.
yeah. No, at the end of the day, no one. It's not gonna be a. No one's gonna really care after like the first 3 days that it's open.
Yeah, after they let up a few home runs, that'll be like, "Oh, now push the wall back further," or there's gonna be like a fly out to the warning track
Yeah, I
where it
think.
would have been a home run.
Yeah, I think you'll see a couple of. Yeah, I think you'll see a couple of plays next year where it's like, oh, well, if they didn't move the wall back, that would have been gone, and it's like, all right, but they did move the wall back and it wasn't gone, so like, I
Call a
don't
timeout
care.
mid inning.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't care. Um, I mean, they can do them.
I
I don't
think
know. Is it official yet? I don't think it's official yet. Is it?
I don't
Or were they just discussing it?
100% know.
Discussing it.
I think that it is, but I'm not gonna go out and say that just yet.
Yeah, I have a
My
feeling it
sources
is.
have not confirmed.
I have a feeling it is, but I guess we'll find out. They don't have much time to do it either, because that seems like a major construction thing. But I guess
Well,
with
you never
lockout, they're
know.
gonna have
Yeah,
time.
they might be doing that until mid like July.
Unfortunately, they might be doing that till mid July. I don't know about mid July. We would be in a bad place.
A dark, dark time.
You have to be picking a lot of MVPs. We'll go back to 1947. Pick every team's MVP.
To go forward in time.
But
Too.
yeah, before we get to the actual serious lockout kind of stuff, we could do just a couple of random stuff from before then. Shohei Ohtani had a photo shoot. He was on the cover of GQ Sports
Wow.
magazine. I mean, I thought the outfits were a bit odd, and
The outfits were
of the
amazing.
Poses. I don't think they were amazing. They were just weird. They were too old. Like they seemed like I don't know. They were just weird.
My favorite. I had two of my favorites were the one of Shohei in the middle of like the locker room without a shirt on, sitting on like the stool, like the swivel stool, and then Shohei Ohtani wearing a catcher's mask might be my sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah,
That one looks really weird.
It's so weird. The ones that got me. Well, that was actually at Angel Stadium. That was the actual locker room.
Yeah.
And that's what I find crazy. The one wearing the catcher's mask was absurd. And in
So
one of the
funny.
locker room pictures, there's a red vacuum in the background.
I mean,
they literally just threw it in there because it was red.
It's red, yeah.
It's just it was so weird.
You can tell that the people who were organizing and producing the photo shoot were definitely not baseball fans, because there were so many there's a lot of opportunity to take pictures that are so much better than what they did. I mean, some of them are like cool and some of them like fit who Shohei Ohtani is. Like the one with him flexing with the baseball right here, that's pretty tough.
It's cool, but then you get one with the catcher's mask on.
Yeah, the catcher's mask.
Well, is Shohei playing catcher next year? Like, what's going on with that?
Or even better, the one of him in the laundry room with just all the jerseys like
bizarre.
drying. Like
they're bizarre, and
it was hilarious.
The poses, they just look so like artificial, like
forced.
you know how forced, like you know how when you normally do a photo shoot, you just kind of like move or do whatever the actual action is, and you just take pictures as you're doing it. It looks like he was just like the push-up one. It looks like he was just sitting there, like holding it. Like it's I know there's footage. I know there's footage of him actually like doing the push-ups and all that or whatever, but it doesn't look that way. And I think they did something wrong because it does not look like that at all. And it's wacky.
I'm not gonna lie to you,
so
this
weird.
chair. I just tried to lean back in this chair and I think I might have broken it.
Nice.
What are you gonna do?
It happens. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. It's just another way to make him the face of baseball. He's going on it all the magazines. I like it. I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, when he was told that he is the face of baseball, he was pretty honored by hearing that. I mean, I can imagine, but in reality, he is.
I mean, he was the talk of the town this year,
and he will be for the next 10 years.
Well, we'll see.
Even after his playing career is over, I mean, he'll go down.
We'll see when he burns out, because there's no way he stays this consistent for like that long. I just don't see it happening realistically. As much as I would like to, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's hard, but you know, if anybody's gonna defy the odds, I feel like Shohei Ohtani would be the guy to do it.
Totally, he's already done it so far in his career.
Yeah, let's hope that he continues.
Yeah. So another kind of stupidish story. No, not stupid, but not directly. Well, I don't even know. It's just a story. So Tristan McKenzie, a couple days ago, tweeted that he needed a Rolex, and to that Marcus Stroman responded he would buy Tristan McKenzie a Rolex if he pitched over 160 innings and had a 3.70 ERA or lower next year.
Love it. I just love it.
That's not even the end of the story. Then Touki Toussaint, who's on the Braves, replied to the tweet and said, "Does this apply to everyone?" And Stroman extended the offer to him as well. So my question is, will either one complete it? Because Tristan McKenzie had a 4.95 ERA in only 120 innings pitched last year, and Touki last year had a 4.50 ERA and 50 innings pitched. So will either of them do it?
I'm going to go ahead right now and take the high road and say yes. Especially, I would be willing to double down on Tristan McKenzie. I know that his numbers don't speak for what he needs to do this season to have Marcus Stroman buy him a Rolex, but if you watched him towards the end of the year, he really, really figured out his pitch mix, his motions, and how he wanted to be a pitcher moving forward. And I think that if he's able to continue the success that he had in his last 5 to 10 starts at the end of the season into next season, then I think he could easily hit the 160 innings pitched. And I'd be even willing to say that he might have like a sub 3 ERA come the All-Star break. Not
Sub.
going to guarantee all year.
Yeah, I don't know about the sub 3 ERA.
Just you wait.
Although I did say the same thing. I said, I think that McKenzie does it. I don't think Tukey will. I haven't really
I'm going to root
watched.
for both of them.
I'll root for both of them, but I haven't really seen much of Tukey, and he was injured this year. But McKenzie has like a lot of promise. He had a couple of insane starts last year, or he had like insane stretches. He had some bad starts too. But if he could fix his mistakes, he could very easily do it.
Right?
I think he got 8. I think he got 8 innings deep or 7 innings, 7.2
I
something like that.
I remember that. I mean, we are both Alex and I are big fans of Baseball Lifestyle 101, and Christian McKenzie is signed to them. So I paid extra close attention because I'm big fans of the brand and I'm big fans of anybody who supports it.
Of course, we get discounts. Get discounts if he pitches well.
Which you just love to see.
Now we have 2 reasons to root for him.
Yeah, and one thing that I want to point out is Stroman never said that offer was not extended to anybody else. So I'm hoping that Jacob deGrom, Derek Cole, Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Trevor Bauer, I hope they're all going to him by the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I doubt it.
Saying, hey, where's my Rolex?
I mean, kind of
that
outrageous.
Cubs contract is going to go out the window on Rolex.
He's not going to have much of that. That's why he got the big contract. Because he needed to buy half the league Rolexes.
I mean, good for him. He's doing God's work. Obviously, MLB players, they don't get paid enough. I mean, I think they all do deserve a Rolex.
No, major league players, no way. Tristan McKenzie can't pay for that Rolex himself.
No. Derek Cole, never. He could never.
No. Well, that's that wacky story. I mean, interested to see how it plays out. If the only issue is, what if there isn't enough season to pitch 120 innings?
I think then Stroman, he's a nice guy. I mean, he is arguably the nicest person in baseball. I think that he would be willing to, compromise with them. Let's just say they play 120 games and McKenzie gets in 115 innings with like a 3.5 or like, a 3.8. I think he'd be willing to stretch it out and be like, yeah, I know we missed some of the season. That's fair.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. I like it. Well, now we can move on to the important stuff. The lockout. The lockout news. Last episode we talked about how the owners and the players were going to meet on Thursday, which is today. They did meet, and it did not go well, according to all sources. The owners proposed some economical things, and the players instantly turned it down. The reaction was not good. So another thing that's not looking promising as we approach when pitchers and catchers report to spring training.
I will say that the one bright spot is that I read over on Twitter earlier that the universal DH is all but confirmed.
I saw
which
that.
Is great
because
I think that means that people like Kyle Schwarber, especially, his offers are going to double if not triple when the lockout ends, because if every team needs a DH, I mean, Kyle Schwarber is a DH to have.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of players like that. Kyle Schwarber is obviously one of the biggest ones, but yeah, a lot of teams in the NL could use just a DH, and I think it's a good thing that they're going over to that as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's sad. Last I read, the MLB sent over an offer, and the Players Association declined. However, I think this now puts the ball in the Players Association's court. I think that it's up to them to build off of what they received today, go back with not something that's completely, favoring only the players, but a compromise. I mean, taking the high road here is definitely not the option. I think you have to lower yourself a little bit and work it out right.
Yeah, I saw something that's I think it was Passon maybe. I don't really know who it was. Might not have been Passon, but they did say that the Players Association is going to make a counter offer in the next couple days, which if I had
God.
to guess, is going to get shot down immediately. I don't think it's going to go well.
Yeah, I think
Unfortunately.
that this is gonna be it's a battle. It's gonna be a battle for both sides. But we're
And,
just rooting for baseball at this point.
and the biggest issue that I've seen is they don't have to be in a lockout right now.
Yeah.
They do not have to be in a lockout right now. The owners are choosing to be in a lockout right now so that they
Yeah.
cannot play. Because obviously the players want to play baseball. They want to play baseball. They want to earn their money. That's pretty much what they want to do. Um, but the owners are the ones initiating the lockout and saying you can't play baseball until we come to terms. So basically saying if you don't agree with us, you're not playing baseball till however long it takes for you to agree. Which is
It's
that's the
completely
biggest issue
unfair.
here. That's the biggest issue here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
it's out of this world
no, it's
that that's how it's being treated.
it's terrible. Um,
Without a doubt.
but that's all there really is on lockout now. Now we just have to wait for the counter offer to come in, and until then we can't really do much about it.
Yeah, if I did guess, probably Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll hear all about it for the whole day, and then we'll hope that instead of the MLB just shooting it down, they want to talk about it or something. The last thing that I want to hear is the MLB decline the players like offer or whatever, and that's it.
Yeah, that would not be a good sign for baseball in general. Well, should we move on to the main segment here? This is going to be part two in the team MVP episodes. One more episode after this. Um, and today we're doing the AL and NL Central team MVPs. So 10 teams in total. And we could get right into it. We're gonna switch it so that we can have the same person. Something tells me we're not gonna have the same person for a decent amount of these. But we need to switch it to have the same person because a few of these teams, there's only one obvious answer. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be similar to last episode, except for that we might have a couple of same answers here. Do we want to? We're gonna start with the AL. We're just gonna continue our path from last episode. We're gonna start with the Chicago White Sox. Who'd you have?
So for the Chicago White Sox, my MVP of the 2021 season was Carlos Rodon. He went 13-5, led the team in ERA with a 2.37, and I mean he almost threw a perfect game. Sadly, he just missed it. Got the no hitter still. I really think that Carlos Rodon, being the younger pitcher, being the guy who had a lot to prove, really came and showed everything that he could, and he really helped the Chicago Cubs win baseball games.
Chicago White Sox. Um,
Oh yeah, Chicago White Sox. My bad.
um, yeah, I also had Carlos Rodon here. It was for me. It was between him and Lance Lynn. And what this like distinguished him from Lance Lynn for me was his FIP, WHIP, and his per nine numbers. Because Rodon had a lower FIP, lower WHIP, lower hits per nine, lower homers per nine, lower walks per nine, and then a higher strikeouts per nine and strikeout to walk ratio. So like all
Yeah, his
those in
advanced
general,
stats numbers look beautiful.
he started less games, but it was only four less games. Like so, both pitchers had a big sample size, big enough. And I just think Rodon's numbers outweighed Lance Lynn's numbers. And while Lance Lynn did have a huge season, and I think Carlos Rodon was right up there with him, and was just as
Yeah,
more important to the White Sox than Lance Lynn was.
yeah, that's completely fair. I mean, we're both in agreement on that.
And of course, he might not be back next year. He's a free agent right now. He hasn't signed anywhere,
Yeah,
so we'll see.
as hard as it is for me to say, I kind of hope that the White Sox keep him because they have something special over there.
They do have
I
a lot
really,
special building.
yeah, I think that, give it give it some time, and I think that this team will be a more serious contender in the AL.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Could we talk?
2021. We both came to the consensus of Carlos Rodon. For 2022, I'll go first here. I'm predicting that Luis Robert, however you want to say it, is going to be the White Sox team MVP next year. This year, these numbers are incredible. What I'm about to read. This year, he played 68 games, just 68 games, less than half the season, like well less than half the season. He batted 388, had a 378 OPS and a 946. OBP 378 and a 946 OPS, which is incredible in itself. But then he had 13 homers, 22 doubles, 6 steals, and a 3.6 WAR. He had a 3.6 WAR in 68 games, which is incredible. That's on pace, well on pace to be top 10 in the majors for this year or any season really, even top 3, top 5 ish area.
Oh yeah.
And what puts him away for me. What I love about him is his 5-tool ability. I mean, he's got a high batting average, speed, power, and he could play center at a great defense level. He's got elite skill every aspect of the game. I just like him. I think he's like one of
I can
those
tell. I didn't really tell.
5-tool players. I know I'm really high on Luis Robert.
All right. Well, I'm
I
happy
really
that
like
you
him
took
going into
Luis
next year.
Robert. I'm happy that you took Luis Robert. Because I was stuck between him and who I picked, which was Eloy Jimenez.
Knew that was coming.
And I took him more on the eye test rather than his stat line. Obviously, this season, I think he only played about 55, 60 games, which is a very small sample size. He was hurt and he did go back and forth or whatever. But I'm picking him more based on the eye test and based off of clutch. With how the White Sox lineup is currently constructed and how they are built to win, I think Eloy will be the one stepping into the box in a lot of situations, and he's going to have to learn to come up big early in the season. And I think he'll continue that throughout the season, leading to him being the player that they need out there in left field, both offensively and defensively.
I like it. I mean, the thing that drove me away from Eloy was his defense. Not really known for well defense.
I mean, he's tucked away in left field. At that point, you have to rely on your pitching a little bit to keep him out of the play. But I mean, there are less serviceable guys out in left field than Eloy.
I agree.
They're not scraping the bottom of the barrel for him.
Yeah, I mean, his numbers this year were good, considering he played 55 games. He played the same amount of games this year as he did last year, in the 60-game season.
Perfect.
And his numbers, he had the same amount of at-bats, the exact same amount of at-bats, 213. He hit 4 more doubles and 4 more homers than 4 less rather than last year. He had 4 less RBIs. What's up with this? He had 4 more walks. This man likes the number 4. He likes the number 4.
Listen, I'm a big consistency guy.
He likes
thank
the number
God.
4.
Yeah, I mean, good on him. He can do it in the box. I think that's known.
He's electric.
He can. But I'm thinking, based on how their lineup is built and how it's constructed, not saying come playoff time he'll be the one that they crutch on, but in the regular season, I don't think teams are going to want to pitch to the Tim Andersons, the Luis Roberts, the Jose Abreu's. I think that Eloy will be the guy that everyone thinks, oh, we can get him out, and it turns out that he's going to be the clutchest player.
Yeah, I like the pick. Eloy was certainly electric in his time. He was big. He came up in big spots when he needed to, when he was there this year. The only thing, his batting average this year was a little worse than it has been before. But I mean, when he's healthy next year, he could be dangerous. I like it.
All right.
So
you want to move on to the Guardians?
Cleveland Guardians, the former Indians. No longer.
Who's going first?
I'll go first on this one. I think there was a pretty obvious pick. I didn't really see much else. It's going to be Jose Ramirez, third baseman for the Guardians, Cleveland Guardians. This is a really weird season because they changed to the Guardians, but last season they were the Indians. So which do you go by? Because technically he did it for the Indians,
I mean,
but now they're the
I'm gonna
Guardians.
say Guardians just to keep myself out of harm's way from the media.
I guess so. Anyway, 152 games, big amount of games, which is always good. 266 batting average, 355 on base, 830, 893 OPS, 141 OPS plus. I mean, what can he do? He's
I mean,
literally a
he's a
spectacle.
stud.
He doesn't look like he's fast, but he's got speed. He had
Oh, he is
he had
wheels.
27 steals last year. Along with 36 homers, 32 doubles, 6.7 WAR. I mean, how do you not love this guy? He does
It's
everything.
hard not to. It's so hard not to.
He does everything.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean his defense is right up there with his offensive power. He's a great all-around player.
yeah,
Any team would be lucky to have him.
that's what I said. He was like a gleaming spot in a dark season out there in Cleveland.
Very dark season.
Very dark season. I mean, they might have not been last in the division, but it certainly felt like it.
Yeah.
But I think
All right.
that was an easy general consensus.
Yeah. Well, for my MVP, I went with Eddie Rosario. Uh, he got. They brought back a lot of trade value on him. No, I'm kidding. I put.
I was like,
Ramirez as
what?
well.
I was like, what are you talking about? Eddie Rosario, he left halfway through the season.
Yeah, he was traded.
Okay, he left. He wasn't on the team. He doesn't have stats from that team. Okay. Who do you have for next year?
For next year, I took Jose Ramirez for the same reason why I took John
I
Means last episode, just because I think that this is the year that Jose Ramirez will get moved. And I mean, the guy is so valuable that the overhaul of prospects and picks that the Guardians will get for him will
yeah
be through the roof.
yeah
And
I
it
like
will
that.
definitely set up the Guardians for the long term.
I like that. Yeah, I literally wrote Jose Ramirez for all the same reasons as he was for this year.
Yeah,
He's just gonna go out there and do his thing. He does it every year.
of course. I mean,
There's
what
no.
more?
It's the three guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Jose
Jose
Ramirez.
Ramirez playing stud level baseball.
Yeah, those are, that's pretty much all there is.
Yeah,
That's all there is
consensus. All
to
right,
it.
works well. Works well.
Yeah, no, it's the Jose Ramirez show out there in Cleveland,
Yeah.
and I'm all here for it. However, in Detroit this year, they exceeded expectations. Although they might have been 77 and 85, same record as the Mets. Um,
Yeah, I had to throw that one in there.
oh, of course, got to remind them like same record as the
Gotta-
Angels,
Oh,
one better than the
the
Rockies.
Shohei Ohtani Angels.
The Detroit Tigers had the same record as the Los Angeles Angels this year. Anyway, who'd you have for their team MVP? I feel like we're gonna differ
Alright.
here.
I went with I was tied between two, and I actually legitimately flipped a coin for who I would pick here. I went with Robbie Grossman. He's technically a veteran on the team, not including Miguel Cabrera. I mean, 31-year-old left fielder who hit 23 homers and just under 70 RBIs. I'm chalking up the low RBIs due to lack of production from playing on the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and
But
he was like towards the bottom of the lineup. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he played well. He played well. I did watch a good amount of Detroit Tigers games actually, just to see Robbie Grossman because I heard a lot of good things about him, and I did not think that he was going to live up to what I was hearing. But I mean, he did. He is a very well-rounded, good MLB player, and that's what I saw this season.
Now here's the thing. This is where I thought we were gonna differ, but I also had Robbie Grossman.
Okay, then I'll advocate for my other one, Miguel Cabrera. Um, I mean,
No,
how
hold
do you
on.
not like Miguel Cabrera?
Hold on. I mean, he did have a good season considering, but I mean, Robbie Grossman, yeah. I mean, I think he was like the sleeper pick. It was between him and Scope for me, but I mean, I personally picked him because he had 98 walks, 20 steals. So if you can get on base, steal a couple bases, that's always extremely
We could've-
valuable. And
I wish we could have taken that. Who's their like pitcher that got injured this season?
Mize, Boyd, Scooble. I'm
Uh,
trying to think of Tigers pitchers. Was he a starter, reliever?
yeah, starter. He's a ginger too. He has like the orange hair. He's very pale. Uh, he was very good, but then he got injured.
If my internet was working, I would most definitely try to help you with that.
You're
Unfortunately,
telling me.
unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't know
so
who
we
you're
both went
talking
with
about.
Robbie Grossman.
Yeah, so Robbie Grossman, general consensus there.
All
Um,
right,
who'd you get for next year? Because I have a decent pick I think lined up here.
I went with Javier Baez.
I like it.
Um, Newly acquired from the Detroit Tigers. For me, it was between Baez and Nathan Eovaldi. I wound up going with Baez just because of how underwhelming the media portrayed him to be in New York. I think that coming over to the AL, playing in a sort of weak division besides the White Sox, I think that'll give him a chance to really bolster himself back up into the Javier Baez that was so electric, that was a one-man show every night in Chicago.
Even on
I
the
mean,
Mets, even on the Mets, he
yeah,
was
even on the
he
Mets, he
was
had
a
his
he
moments.
did have his moments. He always does. He always does. He always
Yeah,
picks the
and
right
then he has
moments.
moments where he swings at the ball when it's not even halfway to the plate. But
Right, but
that's
but
Javier
at the
Baez.
at the same yeah at the same time that's his brand, so that's like they know that's what they're getting, so you can't really be mad about it, unless he
Yeah,
changes
I
something
mean,
up this off season. But I don't know.
I just think that he's going to be the one that shows out and shows that the Tigers are looking to win. They're not just looking to sit at the bottom of the barrel. I'm not saying that they're gonna, make the playoffs and run the gauntlet as if they've been there a million times, but I think that Javier Baez will be a lock, not a lock, an anchor for the team moving forward and trying to win baseball games.
Yeah, I agree. I think he got that contract, so he might as well live up to it in some sense of the word.
Yeah.
Um, that's not who I
Now, do
picked.
we?
That's not who I picked, but I can see how he would kind of ball out there. They know what they're getting. I think his strikeout rate's still gonna be high, but I think he'll hit.
Of course, it's Javier Baez.
Well, yeah, but I think he'll have a nice OPS. He'll be hobby bias, and hobby bias is enough to be an MVP of a team. Any day of the
Oh,
week.
without a doubt. I mean, and if he really shows out, how old is he? He's not even 30, right? Is he 30?
Javi, let's see. He is
Could have had this prepared. I really wanted to.
he is 29, so he'll be 30 midway through next season,
I
or
mean,
maybe not even. He'll be 30. He'll be 29 next season.
am I gonna say this right now? Yes. I think Javier Baez will finish top five MVP voting for the 2022 season. Lock it in.
That's a bold
Lock it in.
that's a bold statement. I don't know if
What
I agree with
he
that.
Watch him go
I
off.
don't think
He
I don't I don't know if Javi Baez is in general an MVP kind of guy though.
Oh,
That's
just
not
you
what
wait.
MVP voters look for, unless he can put the strikeout numbers down.
I
Um,
think I don't think the strikeouts are going to matter when he hits 58 home runs with 144 RBIs,
he ain't hitting
leading the
58
team
home
to the second
runs.
wild card spot.
He ain't hitting 58 home runs.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I mean,
Only time will tell.
I went a little different route. I took a player who was already on the team this year. I picked Eric Haase, catcher. I I think from what I saw, he was like one of the fan favorites. It's him and Akil Badu,
Oh,
who was also on my list of maybe being MVP next year for their team. But he was a fan favorite. He just a likable guy, and he always seemed to come up clutch because there was a time where you hit like, I've seen ninth inning homers, walk offs, like putting them ahead in the eighth or whatever.
he
I've
was
seen
not afraid of the big moments.
exactly, and although his numbers might not have been his like not counting numbers, his just statistical numbers might have not been great. He did have a 104 OPS plus, which is above league average. But the 22 home runs in 98 games is pretty good for a catcher.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
some
mean,
that's some like early JT Real Muto numbers. If he can do that for an entire season, I think he can break out in 2022, and that's why I chose him.
Yeah, I mean, the catcher position is one that almost every team in baseball is trying to figure out on what defines a good catcher, and I really think that the Tigers have it there.
Yeah, I think the
I mean,
Tigers have
if they
someone
can get a full
special.
season of him,
Yeah, they've got someone special.
yeah, without a doubt. All right, you want
Um,
to move over to the Royals
the Royals. Yeah, let's do it.
first?
I think it's might be a general consensus here too, because there's really no avoiding this. It was between two, honestly, but how could you not pick Salvador Perez?
Yep.
Um,
Whew.
161 games, broke the catcher all-time catcher record, was in the home run derby. He actually put up a good fight in the home run derby when many people thought he wouldn't. First team All MLB, 48 homers, 121 RBIs. Um, how could you not pick him? And he played good defense. He had
Oh my
like
God,
a
I was waiting.
1.6. He had like a
I was waiting for that.
1.6 D WAR, which is like
Yeah,
people were getting on him for not being good at defense. He's never had a negative, like I don't think he's ever had a negative D WAR in his career. Maybe like one season.
Salvador Perez really improved behind the dish this year. And the thing that people got on him about the most was not putting in the effort to save the ball when he was behind the plate. And guess what he did this year? He sweated out every at bat as if it was the last inning of a World Series. I mean, he's been there before, so not going to say that he doesn't know what that's like exactly, but he played phenomenally, just defensively. It was perfect. It was damn near perfect, and I think that Salvi should really get more credit than he already does for being that good behind the dish and then amazing at the plate.
I agree. I fully agree. Um,
Yeah.
I think
What more could you want?
no one expected it from him this year, and he just did it day in day out.
Yeah. I mean, especially oh my God, the end of the season when it was sort of a home run race, in the AL and stuff. It
Tied
was
tied.
wow. He was able to step up. I mean, he had what 2 games in Seattle where he hit grand slams in both.
Yeah, he
That
he
was
was
electric.
he was going off. He was going.
He was built for Broadway, but he's stuck in Kansas City, Missouri.
I like that. I like that. I mean, he didn't really have an MVP case in my opinion, but he well exceeded anything his teammates did this year. So
Oh,
he
without
by
a
far
doubt.
the MVP of the Royals for this year. However, next year maybe a little
Who'd
different.
you go with? Who'd you go with? Who'd
I
you go
went with Whit Merrifield.
with? Oh,
See now this
okay.
year he played all 162 games. He hasn't missed a game since the start of 2019. Um, he's got
He's a
speed.
workhorse.
He could turn singles into doubles. Extremely valuable. And that never missing a game and not being injury prone is one of the most valuable assets you can have in a baseball game. His batting average was 277 this year. His on base was 317, which are both the lowest of his career. So I think he might have just had a down year. But at the same time, he had
And that is just a down year.
this is his down year. 277 batting average, 317 on base. 40 doubles and 40 steals is a down year.
Yeah.
When you
I
think
mean,
about that, that's
40
absolutely
more steals than I had this season.
it's
Uh,
absolutely insane. And he had 3.6 WAR. This is all in a down year.
yeah.
I think if he could just pick up the pace next year, he'll be insane. Um, he can easily be the best player on any team. As a matter of fact, if he plays his cards right, because I think all of his assets that he has are extremely valuable.
Yeah, I mean, he is just a great all-around player. I mean, just his defense alone, some teams would be willing to kill for.
And the defense is like he's got it all.
Yeah, he has what it takes. It's just a matter of how much he applies himself coming this season. Definitely think that that's a great pick for next year's
Yeah, and
MVP.
the 40 doubles stands out to me because I mean I know I haven't.
You know how many more games the Yankees would have won if they had somebody who had 40 doubles?
A lot more. Any team would have won more. I mean,
Oh my God.
I'd never
Yeah.
watched Royals games last year. I don't think I watched a single Royals game last
Oh,
year.
you
Maybe
missed out on some good
maybe
games.
if they were playing the Yankees. I've seen clips. I've never like tuned in. Um, but with Merrifield, I can only imagine that some of these doubles are just any other player would be a single. And he stretched them out, which is it's great to have on a team.
Yeah, you would think that he's a Formula One car running down the first baseline. I mean, he is fast.
He's
He
just
is
gone. He's gone.
fast.
He's gone.
Yeah. All right. Well, for my MVP next season, I completely voted with purely my heart. I did not look at any stats. I took Andrew Benintendi. I love Andrew Benintendi, and it was so hard for me to say that when he was donning the Red Sox uniform. And as soon as he went over to Kansas City, I could not be more excited. I voted with purely my heart. There is no reason behind it other than I love Andrew Benintendi.
You
But that's
just
who I took. I
you
mean,
love Benny.
he's a pretty good left fielder. I know that he has the defense. I know that for a fact. It's just a matter of will his bat really show out the way it should in Kansas City. I think it
Um,
will.
yeah,
Then again, am I being biased a little bit?
well, he had a down year this year. If he turns into Red Sox Benintendi, I can 100% see it.
I purely the only one out of the 30 teams I completely voted with just my heart because I loved
It's all right.
when I was watching that 2018 World Series, watching Andrew Benintendi play and just being a little kid like out there in the field and on the base path and stuff, I just loved it. And it was so hard for me to admit. And now that he's somewhere other than the Red Sox, I can proudly back him.
I like it. I mean, I like that you're going with your heart. I like that you're going with your heart. Um, Good luck to Benintendi.
I mean, without a doubt, good luck to him. I'm hoping I can catch a game where he's playing at least once.
Hopefully, if
Just
he's in New York at
such
any
a good
point.
player. Yeah,
Interested.
definitely have to look into that one.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right,
like it.
you want to move over to the last place Twins?
The underperforming Minnesota Twins. My MVP was Jorge Polanco. I don't really think it was a competition there. 152
That's who I went
games.
with as well.
Yeah, 269 batting average, 323 on base, 125 OPS plus, 33 homers, 35 doubles, 4.9 WAR. How could you not go with him?
How,
Um,
how could
I
you
mean,
not?
he was just a bright spot for the entire underperforming team. I think if Buxton played the entire season, he would have far been their MVP, or it might have been between him and
I
Polanco. But
wrote down the exact same thing.
yeah, no doubt. If Buxton didn't break his thumb after he came back the second time or whatever, he probably would have been the MVP of this team. But unfortunately, he didn't, and the Twins only won 73 games. So looking at it, I mean, what can you really say?
I mean, Jorge Polanco was certainly probably the only bright spot on that team after April.
Yeah, there was a point where he like walked off 3 games in a row. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a machine. He can do it on both sides of the ball as per usual. Swings a great bat, and I mean, if his trajectory keeps up, then we're going to be talking about him for quite some time.
Oh no, I agree. Um, if he can keep it up, he'll be putting up some great numbers, and he'll have a nice stat line at the end of his career if he can keep doing this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Simple choice right there.
yeah, I took Jorge Polanco for all the same reasons. I mean, it's hard not to like the guy too. He's a good personality that Minnesota definitely needs, especially if they're looking to, I don't know, what would you call it, a retooling, or
Yeah,
do we commit them to a rebuild?
soft rebuild because they
Yeah, very
obviously
very soft.
they extended Buxton, so they can't be rebuilding that much.
I mean, it was a pretty cheap deal.
I mean, yeah, but they still got him for what 7 years now. So
7 years, 100 mil. Yeah, I mean, a great signing and great season from Polanco. Just hoping that he can improve upon it come
yeah,
next season.
yeah, I for sure think he can. Um,
Yeah,
so who though, which leads to speaking of next season, who do you think will be their MVP next year?
I took the obvious and went with Byron Buxton. I mean, he showed the potential to be the centerpiece of a playoff caliber team in the first month and a half of the season. Like you said, he did have injuries, wishy-washy, broke his thumb. Sadly, it didn't all work out for him at the end of the day. But I think that if the Twins get a healthy Buxton next year, he will win them at least 10 games. He will be the difference maker, defensively or offensively. I mean, he can do it anywhere. And if they did a full healthy season out of him with the way that he performed when he was on the field, I think that the trajectory is only up for the Twins.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this year he might have won AL MVP if he didn't get injured.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt he would have.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's kind of too obvious.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do about it?
But I, however, did not pick him. Did not pick him. I didn't want to go with the obvious. I was
Who'd you
looking
take?
through
Who'd
him.
you take?
I was looking through him, and this one seemed like a kind of you might have forgotten about him. I'm gonna go with Mitch Garver,
Mitch Garver.
catcher.
Oh.
He has yet to play a full season in his career. He played
How many did he play during the lockout?
during the
Not the lockout, the shortened seasons. Shortened season.
23. 23.
Really?
So obviously he's kind of riddled with injuries. He only played 68 games this year. However, going off his 2019 numbers, which is like the last one he decently played, which was 93 games, I mean, 273 batting average, 365 on base, 157 OPS plus, almost a 1 OPS. He's from what I remember, he's not bad defensively, which is important. I mean, 31 homers in 93 games in 2019.
That's really impressive out of a catcher.
That is really impressive. That's insane catcher numbers.
Especially hitting in target field, which is not easy to do.
I agree. And if he can come back and he can do something similar to that, I think it's going to be dangerous.
Over a full season?
Over a full season, it's going to be dangerous.
That's a good... I mean, dare we even say, do the Twins look to move him at the trade deadline if he's healthy and playing that well?
I think it depends on how they're doing.
I could name you 20 teams right now that need a catcher.
I mean, yeah.
Like I said earlier, every team is trying to figure out that catcher position, and only 2 or 3 of them have solid foundations for what they want.
I like it, but I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know. I just don't know if they're gonna trade him necessarily because
I don't see it happening.
Especially if he's playing that well. I mean, they have him locked up till 2024, so they're gonna get another 2 years out of him no matter what. I guess it just kind of depends on where they think their team is. Like if they think they're going to be good by 2023, 2024.
I mean, I would love to see a competition in the AL Central because there hasn't been one in quite some time.
It's weird. There hasn't been one in quite some time. However,
so I'll take turns.
I think the average games one might have been second in the entire league or second or third. I think third. The average is like high 70s, high 70s, low 80s. I mean, the AL East is probably the highest.
I mean, yeah, they had 490 win teams. I would hope that it's the highest.
Yeah, then the NL West. So maybe they're the fourth, but they're not the last. Is my main point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the AL Central is an interesting division to say the least. I mean, like I just said, it feels like they just take turns on who's gonna come out in the playoffs. With most recently it's been the White Sox turn, and you never know. Maybe in 2 years we're talking about how the Minnesota Twins are about to win a World Series.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It all depends on Mitch Garver. That's it. No one else.
Of course, Mitch Garver is there to lift target field up with nothing but his pinkies.
Yeah, he's there. He's
and
ready.
Carry them to the promised land.
No, he's got it.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
All right, let's get to the NL.
Over to the NL Central, the National League Central.
NL Central, we'll start with the first place, the 95-win Milwaukee Brewers. Who did you have?
So, I think I kind of went with the obvious pick here and just took Corbin Burnes. I mean, the guy was just an absolute monster. Pitched great all season. And I mean, you realistically could give this award to the entire Brewers pitching staff because they were just all so shut down when they needed to be in the regular season. But I just wound up going the easy way with Corbin.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of obvious. Cy Young.
Yeah.
Not much argument there. I went a different route. I went with Josh Hader.
Yeah, another
Doesn't
pitcher.
get much better. Yeah, their pitching staff was just too much this year.
Funny enough, it was between Corbin Burnes and Josh Hader for me. So
yeah, it doesn't get much better than Josh Hader. He's the best closer in baseball by far. I mean, 60 games, 34 saves, 1.23 ERA in like 60 innings pitched. That's incredible.
Just remember, he's only getting paid $8 million.
And he only gave up 8 runs all year.
That's just mind-boggling.
He had an 8.35 WHIP, which is insane. Averaged 15.6 strikeouts per nine. So
Yeah,
if
I
he
mean,
pitched a 9 inning game, he would average 15.6 strikeouts. Not to say that he
he could
can,
do it.
but by the numbers, that's what I mean. There, how do you argue? He's lights out. He's the closer of the decade. Um,
Without a doubt. I mean, he
he's
just
never had
knows
a
how
bad
to
season.
do it.
He's never had a bad
Yeah.
season.
No, I mean, God forbid that he ever does have one.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't. Knock on wood. Yeah, but
He's such a stud. I
he's
mean,
figured it out. He's figured it out.
I mean, he's yeah, he's figured it out. He knows how to do it. All right. Do you want to go first with your MVP for the 2022 season?
Sure. I'm gonna go with maybe a little bit of a controversial pick, but I am gonna go with Christian Yelich. I think he's gonna get
Damn
it. I think he's gonna get it up and start in next year again. I think he's gonna return to MV, C Yelich
Good
form. Uh,
one.
I
Yeah,
tried to think of someone on the spot there, but I think he's gonna get back to the Yelich that we know. Obviously, his numbers were terrible this year. I mean, he played 117 games. He had 9 home runs, and a 1.2 WAR. It's just atrocious. It's just bad. His
I
WAR
know that
wasn't
his
even top
back
12.
was. From what I know, his back was still nagging him a little bit this season. So I'm hoping that he
Yeah,
got a full off season of rest, recovery, and he's working to come back and be the the Christian Yelich of old.
yeah.
That's
He had
also
talked
who.
about how he was somewhat injured last season, but I mean, let's hope he can like you said, exactly like you said, he gets a full year of rest, maybe even more depending on how lockout ends, and he can just come back and become the MVP form that we've seen from him in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I also went with Pete Davidson. I mean, Christian Yelich as my MVP pick for
Just
the
gotta throw
Milwaukee
Pete
Brewers
Davidson in there.
come come next season for all the same reasons. And one thing that I think we need to look at with him is his defense. I think that especially if the NL is bringing a DH, because genuinely I think they're gonna sign Kyle Schwarber. Um, they're gonna throw Christian Yelich out in the outfield again, and I think he will show out, especially if he's healthy. I think we could see MVP Yelich any day of the week. It just depends on his health, and I think that we're gonna get a healthy Christian Yelich.
I like it. Obviously, pick the same. I have high hopes for him next year.
Yeah, me
And
too. I
wishing
mean,
him
I
all the
just miss
best
him.
luck. Yeah, I'm wishing him all the
Nope.
best luck for next year.
All right.
If we want to move over to the second place Cardinals,
The
90
birds.
win Cardinals. Obviously they went on like that 18 game win streak or 20 game win
Oh,
streak, whatever it
just
was.
wow.
Incredible. And I think one player really stood out on this team. We might have the same guy here. Who'd you pick?
No, no, I insist on you going first.
So I'm guessing we don't have the same guy. I'm gonna go with the kind of obvious, maybe not so obvious, Paul Goldschmidt. 158 games, 143 OPS plus, 31 homers, 36 doubles, 99 RBIs. Good defensive first. He was a big part of that win streak that they had going on, and I don't think anyone on the team really had the influence that he did. Obviously, he's the veteran in the clubhouse. Him along with Arenado, teaching the younger guys on the team, and the younger guys on the
Oh,
team did good. I have a
that,
feeling.
that
I have a
young
feeling
studded
you.
roster.
I have a feeling you might have picked one of the younger guys, but I think that Goldschmidt um, influenced the younger guys and was big on this team last year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's completely fair. For my MVP of the birds, I went with the Platinum Glover Nolan Arenado. As much as I wanted to pick one of their outfielders or Yachty or even a pitcher who helped them during that win streak, I mean Nolan Arenado's glove wins the MVP on its own.
Yeah,
He's just such a lockdown defender at third. He had his arm. Genuinely, he could throw it. He could throw that baseball from dead center to home plate if he really wanted to, with perfect accuracy. I mean, it's hard to ever say that Nolan Arenado does not deserve MVP on whatever team he's playing on.
yeah. I mean, you
And
can you could argue that without offense, he would still be an MVP of a team.
Yeah, well, that's why I know that he had a very down year. I think he batted like 250. Um, but he played just so well at the hot corner that it's hard to deny that he deserved the MVP
Yeah,
in my eyes, at least.
yeah, I like it. He had a good season, even though the statistical numbers on the hitting side might have not been the highest of his career. He still had an insane season, but
I
that's just
mean,
that's just what Nolan Arenado does. So
yeah, he's. I know he almost played every game, and although every game he wasn't doing what Colorado Rockies Nolan Arenado would do of hitting doubles, homers, and everything, he
mhm.
played his absolute heart out and played when it mattered.
Yeah,
And I think that he was such a big part of the team that he deserves the MVP for it.
yeah, I like it. You can't really argue that one. No, you really can't. No,
All right.
I like it.
Would you like to move on to the children, or should I say the 2022 uh, MVPs?
Yeah,
Because I can kind of figure out that both of us went with one or the other. So you go first, and I'll take the
I
other.
don't think so. I don't
All
think so.
right.
I think we have different here. I went with Jack Flaherty.
You went with Jack Flaherty.
Yep, I think he's gonna be a dare I say Cy Young candidate next year.
I'll
Um,
put it.
th- I mean, this year in 17 games, he had a 3.22 ERA. He went 8-0 to start the season, 78.1 innings pitched. Obviously, got injured. Um, a WHIP just over one. I like his stuff, and I might be a little biased because I just like him in general. I've seen him on a bunch of shows and stuff, but I like his stuff, and I think at any day of the week he can take on the biggest lineups in baseball, and he showed that in the beginning of last season before he got injured, and I think he can very well continue it going into next year, as long as
Yeah.
no injuries. Knock on wood.
All right. Well, that's funny because I also took a pitcher. I took Steven Matz to be the no.
I was like,
I
what? I thought
I
you
took
picked the young guy.
I took Harrison Bader. I
Saw that
mean,
one. Saw that one.
what a stud! An
Saw that one.
absolute. He was the centerpiece of that win streak. I watched a few of those games when they were just tearing up the lead, and they had a camera angle that they would just look into the Birds dugout, and Harrison Bader, every moment he got on film, he made the most of it, dancing around, just having a good time. And I mean, who's to not forget his diving catch in center field with the luscious locks flowing out of his hair? He gets up, he screams. I mean, he is just the embodiment of value that he can bring to a team. And of course, charisma and his personality is one thing, but he's also just such a great baseball player that it's hard to not say that he'll improve.
I like it. The only issue I had is I get that he's one of the young guys in there. Tyler O'Neill though looked a little more promising this year.
He looked promising
I'd
this
argue.
year. I mean, it's between the both of them. I just happen to feel more fond about
Oh, I can
Harrison
tell.
Bader.
Oh, I can tell. And one thing I would like to point out, you said the young guys. Harrison Bader is 27. Tyler O'Neill is 26. Jack
I,
Flaherty is younger than both of them. So I did pick a
yeah, I don't
young
know.
guy. By your
Yeah, you
standards,
did.
I did pick a
I
young
know.
guy.
I was only thinking of Harrison Bader and Tyler O'Neill, but I will
I
give
mean,
it to
Dylan
you.
Carlson's 22. He looks like the
Yeah,
youngest
but
guy on the team.
yeah, he probably is.
He is. He is. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Or we could just say
Harrison Bader.
screw it and pick Lars Nootbaar.
As much as I
Simply
wanted
because
to.
of his name.
Newt Bar. How do you say no to that?
I know. It just sounds like a nice candy bar.
Yeah.
Nootbaar. Anyway,
All right. You want to move over to
I
your Cincinnati Reds, who have not won a World Series since 1990? Is that who you'd like to go to next? Is
I
that what
mean,
we're
yes,
doing
that's
here?
who I would like to go to. There
Let's
are
do it.
there are worse teams that you could have said haven't won a World Series since too.
Well, no, I'm quoting that guy from the wrestling video where he just calls everything in the Midwest mid.
I mean, that's true. Um,
Ohio.
Do you want to go first on the Reds, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
I mean, I I went with something kind of obvious. I mean, I went with Joey Votto. I feel like he was just a little bit locked down. Good. I mean, as hard as it is for me to admit, I do like the player Joey Votto. I love the guy Joey Votto, like not so much the player, but I like the guy Joey Votto, and he just played really well this season. And you know, what did the Cincinnati Reds really have going for them besides the Rookie of the Year and Nick Castellanos?
Well, aside from the fact that Nick Castellanos did not win the Rookie of the Year this year,
I said the Rookie of the Year and Nick Castellanos.
oh, I think you said Rookie of the Year Nick Castellanos. I was like,
Oh no, no,
what?
no.
Anyway, well, you said it. I picked Nick Castellanos. How could you not? That
There.
he went off. He was the person at him and Joey Votto. I like both our picks. Him and Joey Votto were the two personalities of that clubhouse this year. And at the end of the day, I think Nick's numbers said a lot. So did Joey's, but 34 homers, 38 doubles, 100
Joey,
RBIs,
that stretch of what 8 straight
nine,
games with a home
nine.
run, 9. Yeah,
I
man.
think it was 9 home runs in 7 games, and he had seven
Yeah,
in a row.
it was impressive. It was really impressive.
Yeah, it was good.
And
And
that was
I
just
don't
a
know.
small portion of the season that Joey Votto put together.
Yeah, I like it. I like both our picks right here. I think they were the only two picks that were really valid.
Acceptable.
Yeah, maybe Winker, but even looking at the numbers,
He
it
got
didn't seem
injured
like
too,
it.
didn't he?
Not for a significant amount of time, but I think these are the right answers. I think like there are right answers, and I think these are them.
All right, then do you want to move into the MVP for the 2022 season? Who are you
I
gonna
would
go
like
with?
to. I'm gonna go with Jonathan India, the Rookie of the Year from this year.
That's who I
Uh,
went with.
yeah, I think he's gonna continue his path. Obviously he had 21 homers, 38, 34 doubles. The man can hit. If he can
Can
get
hit,
that
and he
batting,
can play defense.
if he can get that batting average up a little bit, I know it's 270 right now, so like that's not terrible. But if he
For a
can,
first-year player, that's
yeah,
pretty
if
good.
he can keep getting that up, to the moon, to the moon with him, I
I
think he's gonna
mean,
be great, and I think he's the Rookie of the Year should not be taken softly.
yeah. I also went with Jonathan India. I think that moving into next season, he's going to improve at the plate, like you said. And I think that, you know, he's not going to be looked at as just the kid from who's playing for the Reds anymore. I think that the Rookie of the Year award really shows that, he's here to play. He's here to not just, goof around and have fun playing baseball with his friends. He wants to play. And I think that this season he'll really show that he's serious about that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So
Yeah.
general consensus there. Glad to agree, and we can move
All
on
right.
to the infamous, the blow it up Chicago Cubs just to come back stronger than ever next year, which I think is going to happen.
I
Who'd you
wish I
have?
could say I agree.
Who'd you have for this year?
Well, I mean, I think my pick was pretty straightforward. I mean, Anthony Rizzo played out of his mind when he came over to the Yankees, so I'm just going to take him as my secondary for Yankees MVP. Um, all in all, went pretty well. Could not imagine a world without him on the Yankees. But for the Cubs, I'm
I
gonna go
was
with
like, are you
Rich
gonna get
Wendell.
to the Cubs at any point? And I knew
I'm
that
gonna
was
go with
coming.
French Wendell. I mean, I just love the man.
Yeah, no,
I think
I fully knew
he,
that was coming.
he's a star in the making.
Now let me ask you this: he only played 56 games.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just pick him for next year rather than this year? Because I don't think he helped.
Oh,
I mean, I
I'm
know he
getting
was
diverse with my picks.
yeah, but I know he was exciting this year. But
Yeah, he was
I don't know
exciting
if
this
he
year,
was
and I
their
think that he
most
made
valuable
he.
player.
Well, I mean,
He wasn't the
what did you want
reason
me
they
to say?
won their games.
Okay, and
I
it's
think
my
that
pick,
I think
not
that would
yours.
be a better
Who
pick.
would you pick then?
I think
Let's
that
hear
would
it.
be a better pick for next year. Although I think you
Okay,
might have picked him for next year as well.
okay. Who'd you pick? Don't give me the look. Who'd you pick?
I picked Wilson Contreras. He's the only one at this point now.
Polanco.
Him and Jason Hayward. He's pretty much the only one left from that team that won the World Series.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the numbers. I mean, he's played 128 games. He had some decent numbers. Good catcher. Not much else to say. The Cubs had a lot of meh players this year.
Yeah, I mean, especially with them blowing it up
Yeah, it
at the
was
trade
tough.
deadline, it
It
was
was tough.
difficult to
Maybe
pick.
if they kept one of their three, you could have easily gone with one of them, but they just got rid of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, technically we could say all of them because now they're all free agents, and the Cubs got some
Yeah, I
prospects and
mean that's
stuff for
another
all of
that's
them.
another way to look at it. All three of them being their MVPs because of what they got back.
I mean, free agency's
They
still
knew
out.
they knew they weren't gonna win, and
They made the most of it. I mean, the front office of the Cubs is pretty smart in that sense.
yeah, I like it.
Front office for MVP, actually. I'm changing my pick.
All right, so
All right.
who do you have next year? Because I think I know.
For next year, I took Marcus Stroman.
Oh, okay.
I'm I just think that Marcus Stroman is the type of guy that has the ability to sell tickets every fifth day when he comes to the mound. He's a good personality to have in Chicago, and I think that he's going to be a big development piece in some of their younger players, especially pitchers moving forward. I think that's why he got a larger contract because it wasn't just about him putting the jersey on every fifth day and going out to the mound. It's also about what he's going to do behind the scenes that we won't see that will lead to the Cubs having long-term success in the future.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
He's there for 3 years at this point.
I mean, 3 years, you can get a lot of prospects rolled through, especially in spring training, if that ever happens. You
Yeah,
can get a lot of prospects, even just have one conversation with him
yeah, I like
and,
it.
pick his brain because he's such a smart pitching mind, I think, when you just sit down and listen to him talk about it. So I'm just hoping the best for Marcus Stroman, and I think he's going to be the MVP on and off the field.
I like it. I like it. I went with a different kind of look. I went with Patrick Wisdom. Very
Another legend.
exciting this year. I think he brought energy to that Cubs team, even when it might have seemed like it was kind of a dud out there in Chicago. He played 106 games. Did his thing. 231 batting average, 305 on base, 117 OPS plus, 28 homers. I think he's gonna go out there and he's gonna give the fans something to watch next year. Even
Yeah.
though the team might not be as good as they have been in past years, I think he's gonna be like a real bright spot in that lineup.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, him, Schwindel, I think that both of them are bright spots.
This man loves Frank Schwindel.
I love Frank Schwindel. I just love him.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, there you go.
Want to head over to Steel City now? Wrap
Not
this up.
really. Not really. No. But we will, because we
All
have
right,
to.
I'll call the episode here. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right. Well, can we? Do we both have the same person here? Yes, we do.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the only one I could not pick one for. I just everybody was so bad except for one player. I mean,
So we should have the same guy.
I think we do. Do we both just have Brian Reynolds?
Yeah. Why? Why
Yeah.
would you think you don't know if we have the same guy? I
Well,
mean,
no,
he
because
was the only
I
good
tried
player on that team.
I tried so hard to find just somebody else, and I didn't.
No, because
I
then that's
couldn't.
not the MVP. He was by far the MVP. There's
Yeah.
no way around it. There's no way around it. There's no in and out loophole. I mean,
I wanted my heart went with Jacob Stallings just because of the walk off that he hit
no.
against
Yeah, but then you look at his
against the
numbers.
Mets. Oh no, his numbers were terrible. That was
No,
that was
they
my
weren't even terrible. They weren't
internal
terrible.
conflict.
Don't say they were
No,
terrible. Last episode you said they were good.
yeah. My bad.
They weren't
But
terrible, but
I mean, I wanted to go with Jacob Stallings, but yes, it's hard to disagree with
how could you
Brian
not?
Reynolds being the MVP.
302 batting average, 390 on base, 912 OPS, 24 homers, 35 doubles, 8 triples, a 6 WAR. He was
And
top 10 in the league in WAR. How could you not
and his
say?
defense was perfect.
Yeah,
Damn near.
no, there's no way around it. I'm glad we can come to agreements. If
Yeah.
we just want to move on quick, if you want to tell us who you're.
All right, I went with Brian Hayes for the MVP next
That's
season.
also who I went with. I think he's going to
Just
break
another,
out. I
yeah,
think
he's
it's
just
going to
a
be his
good
breakout
player.
year. He didn't do
Yeah.
too well this year. 87 OPS plus, not great.
I think it's just because he's a little bit younger. I think the
I think he needs
nerves are
time.
getting to him. He
Yeah.
just needs time. Yeah, that's
I
it.
think they
And
might have brought him up a little too quickly, but there's not much you can do about that now. I think he'll get adjusted quite well.
Yeah, and I think that, come this time next season, if there is a season this year, that is, we'll be talking about how Brian Haynes was the most improved player.
Yeah, I can see it.
think he has the potential to really be, same thing as the Cubs, a bright spot.
Yeah,
And I think
I agree. I think it'll be fun because I don't know if how long Brian Reynolds is going to be on that team. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
they
I
decide
know
to
that
trade him
they're.
or not.
Yeah, I know that teams were calling for him, but nothing has been done yet, and the lockout shows no sign of ending. So as of now, Brian Reynolds is still a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Yeah, but I went with Brian Hayes just to be safe. That I know.
Yeah,
I think he's definitely going to be on that team all year next year. There's no way.
Without a doubt.
There's no way he's not on that team for the entire year yet next year.
Yep.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, that was pretty cut and dry.
Not too many arguments. I think it was pretty straightforward for some of them. A little not straightforward for a few, but I think that went overwhelmingly well. As for other news, baseball, nothing in the coming days. I know another probably players meeting with the owners is gonna happen soon. The Yankees had a press conference with their first ever female manager, Rachel Balkovec.
She said that her end goal is to just be a manager at the major league level, which I just love to hear.
Go for it.
I mean,
I
don't think I'm the only thing that bothers me is that we shouldn't be treating it as if it's some spectacular moment, because at this point we should just normalize the fact that this is going to happen.
I agree.
And I love it.
I agree.
For the game.
I agree. However, I don't think you can treat it normal because the first ever woman being a manager of a professional.
I'm saying her quote
team.
about wanting to be a manager at the major league level.
Right, but I get that's a little different.
That's everybody's end goal.
Right, but what I'm saying is I think the first one is always special.
Oh yes, without a doubt.
So I don't think it can be normalized until it happens first. So
once again, I mean, hats off to her. She earned it, and I'm very excited for her future and the team's future.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. I think that's really it.
Seems to be it. Good episode. One more of these episodes, and then we got to come up with something else to rank.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a guest, or we'll see.
There's plenty of options.
Yeah, but that should be it for now. This has been a normal baseball podcast, and we will see you next time.